Just imagine, right? For stand-up meetings, which we regularly have, which is common in every team, AI could be summarized based on the work that happened from yesterday to today. It could summarize everyone's progress.
Welcome back to another episode of How AI is Transforming the World of Developers. By now, you have probably heard varying degrees of just how much code is already being generated by AI or how much more is coming in the next 1-2 years. So the big question is, if you're a developer or leading an engineering organization, how do you navigate this dynamic shift, one we haven't seen at this scale before? Traditionally, coding has been about knowing syntax and structure, but in the age of AI, it's less about keystrokes and more about how you think. Today, we are unpacking what this shift really means for individual developers or for teams and organizations trying to stay ahead. Joining me is Vidheer, who has written a fantastic piece on the PACE framework, and we are diving into this new developer mindset required to thrive in this AI-powered world. Vidheer is an expert in building developer experiences in large organizations and is tackling the same challenge at scale. I've heard that link to his blog, and I highly recommend you guys read it. Vidheer, thank you so much for joining today and providing us your insight. Why don't you give us a quick intro about yourself and what you do and any background you want to share with us?
Thanks for having me, Balaji. That's a very kind intro. I'm super excited to be here. I'm Vidheer. I have close to 2 decades of experience building enterprise products at scale. I currently lead developer experience in a centennial old organization. Obviously, there's a lot of history, rich history, not only on the business side, even on the software side. We are trying to streamline this whole developer tools and flows so that developers can get the best experience while they enjoy what the work they love to do every day. Lately, I've been observing the trends in Gen AI and experimenting how these Gen AI tools and technologies would help me and also help developers to reduce their friction, boost the productivity. And then that's how my passion in improving developer experience, and I want to bring Gen AI as part of that whole passion and improve the day-to-day work of a developer.
Yeah, well, most people are talking about how AI model is better for which AI model is better for coding, or which AI coding assistant is better. Either it's GitHub Copilot or Cursor, or Windsurf, or Canoe.dev. I think the rage is all about vibe coding and agentic AI and how the coders can do a lot more than just code suggestions. But when I read your article, I feel like it moved the conversation a little bit further, a little bit more deeper into a larger organization context, how a large organization would actually need to evolve from a developer mindset as well as the organizational mindset to adopt to this AI revolution. So as you said, Gen AI tools aren't just changing how fast we work, but also influence how we think about developer problems. So let's get into it. Let's get into what is your PACE framework is and how do you approach it. So why don't you, for the audience who haven't read the article yet, what is PACE? And let's walk through each one of the acronym in the PACE network.
Sure, absolutely. Like you said, right, Gen AI is definitely bringing a lot of changes, and especially I am observing a seismic shift in the entire software development lifecycle. Like you also mentioned, it's no longer a game of how fast we are coding or how fast we are shipping products. It is more about how evolved is our thinking, especially around developers. The cognitive shift in leveraging these Gen AI tools and products for design, architecture, problem solving, and especially more importantly, how we are beginning to see these tools, not just as an assistance, but as a collaborators and co-creators. And that's why that perspective made me to think and a deep dive into it. That motivated me to write that article. And my interest and goal is to untangle this and present it in a easily understandable framework for the enterprises and organizations like us could adapt. That's why I introduced the PACE framework, highlighting the 4 important pillars to leverage these Gen AI or infuse the Gen AI tools into your workflows and get this transformation on full speed going. Let me dive a bit deeper. So the PACE framework, the P starting letter in the PACE framework stands for participatory design. This is where we are seeing Gen AI tools evolving into co-creators and collaborators side by side with developers. Just imagine, just to give a simple example, if we have a buddy or a coworker in our strategic design, and if your buddy, based on intelligence, brings 10 ideas to the table, and you, as a developer, as the decision maker, you need to strategically evaluate those ideas, think which will align with the product roadmap, what is the best for the enterprise, and you need to pick the right decision. You need to make the right decision and also pick the right design that is going to align. And that is how we are seeing developers are going to evolve. If not, they're already evolving. It is already happening in many enterprises as well. They're getting evolved into from task implementers to strategic decision makers, not just thinking about how to build it, but questioning what to build and why to build it. That is the real shift Gen AI tools are bringing into developer experience.
So what you're saying is that when you're, let's say, in a typical organization, when you're designing some large architecture, you're obviously preparing to create it. Let's use AI, let it come up with some ideas. You still need a team of people to be there. Help AI is essentially adding a net new value in terms of coming up with other design ideas that you can debate it eventually and
Exactly.
be able to use it. Okay, what's the next acronym A?
Yeah, the A in PACE stands for architectural focus. With Gen AI tools, right, they're already primed to the market and they're taking care of the grunt work of writing more and more of repetitive tasks or writing the lots of code. Developers are getting more time. If any of organizations haven't tried these, they are going to see developers are going to get more time. How to use this time in a better way is evolving developers to focus on architectural discussions and decisions. Some startups might already be doing that, like small enterprises, but big enterprises, we all know that we have developers focus more on coding part. But with the Gen AI tools, now they can bring into the architectural discussions and decisions as well. They're able to zoom out. Just to give a quick example, like Gen AI is if we are constructing a big wall, Gen AI is laying the bricks, while developers now has the time to focus, zoom out, and focus more on the blueprint. The blueprint, which involves or takes care of system design, thinking, reliability, security, and availability of the system, aligning with the business outcomes. The shift is happening. Developers are going to get involved more in the architectural design, architectural discussions, and holistic design of the product instead of just focusing in a siloed manner on the code. That is where we are seeing the shift in developers' roles and responsibilities.
AI can be used better designing, better preparation, better art. They have more time because they don't have to spend more time on the coding part. They can say, you know what, I can get this done, but if I can design it right, it's
Yeah,
better. I think right now, because of time pressure, I think engineering maybe is spending less time on architecture and some of the things and more time on coding. And maybe with AI, you're freeing up that extra time so they can actually better design. And that's always a good for the long-term feature or product in that sense. So what's
exactly.
C?
The C in the PACE stands for contextual intelligence. In my words, no cutting edge technology or product will truly make sense if it doesn't align with the underlying business or domain of that industry. I could generate thousands of lines of code and offer impressive solutions. But if they're not aligned with the domain, they lack meaning. It doesn't make sense, whatever the code we get. But when we zoom in, right, the domain is really just the context, the why behind what we are building and the problem we are trying to solve. This is where developers are building and sharing the contextual intelligence because now they're going to get more time to dive deeper and understand what is the context. So they could also guide Gen AI to produce solutions that actually align with the business needs. Developers are evolving and they're going to evolve. They're going to become domain experts, architecture savvy, and design thinkers, blurring the lines between the business, domain, and technology to deliver the meaningful outcomes. That is where I see this contextual intelligence. Context switching is a more frequent word that we hear from developers, that we're getting too many things. We're frequently making context switches. But with this Gen AI tools, there's no longer context switch. It's more around contextual intelligence.
Yeah, and I think the to use the garbage in is garbage out, right? If you don't provide a good context with AI, it's going to generate something. I've actually been doing with Cursor a lot of things, but then if you don't take the time, you're going to get some output that from an AI perspective, it's fine, but then from your perspective, it's not useful for the real
Yeah,
world. So what you're saying is you take the extra time you're getting somewhere and learn yourself, learn better context. I think that gives the developers time to learn the better context and then better guide the AI to produce the right code that you can use more better more
exactly.
easily with your system. So what's the final E?
Yeah, E in pay stands for experimental velocity. Again, with Gen AI tools, developers with the speed and the intelligence that is bringing to the table, they can now prototype, experiment, refine, and implement the solution at a speed we have never seen before. They are more confident in failing fast and failing safely and learning, iterating, and delivering in rapid cycle. That is what we are saying. This is going to unlock boldness in developers, where they are experimenting with innovative ideas at the same pace, at the same time learning a new things at the speed and the fast the business is expecting. We're no longer taking about earlier, if we want to do a POC, it used to be like multiple sprint or quarters. Now developers can build quick prototypes and help the business to see the outcomes. They can visualize the outcomes, whether it's solution A or solution B. They can make it smarter, faster, and productive decisions in a much never seen velocity than ever before using Gen AI.
I totally get it. I think as a product manager, we have these prototypes, we have these Figmas, but then we still stay in Figmas. We don't really try to implement and try to work through the workflows and things like that. I think you're right that with the ability to experiment quickly, with Gen AI, you're able to make better decisions, right? So you can say, okay, B looks better than A or C or whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
workflow perspective. Great, and that this is really useful. So I think if I have to summarize what you're saying is AI coding, don't think of it as just helping coding,
Mhm.
helping faster coding. Think of it as what opens up for the development organization, the more time to do something else. And that something else is actually very useful. It's actually not more coding again, but more like thinking architecturally, coming with better designs and understanding better context and guiding and getting better and doing more experimentation. So totally, yeah,
Exactly.
that makes sense. Let's switch top a little bit. So what is the biggest misconception about AI improving developer experience? Like besides you already alluded to it, let's talk about that a little.
Yeah, that's a great question, Balaji. And I get this very frequently in my organization, with my fellow leaders as well. The biggest misconception is that AI is a magic wand for productivity. They'll think that a lot of people is assumed there's nothing wrong. I think they're hearing more stories about writing code. They're thinking that it's going to automatically improve productivity. But the fact is, and also a little bit nuanced as well, AI is an amplifier. It's definitely an amplifier. If your underlying workflows and processes are messy, and if your team hasn't prepared a plan, brought right learning and understanding of how to use these tools, I might just help to create more tech debt because it will just work on or amplify on what you already have. So if you have a chaos, it will amplify the chaos. At the same time, if you have a solid workflow and a better, you're better prepared and understanding, it can amplify the productivity. Another common misconception, which I think we started off saying as well, that aligning AI or Gen AI tools only on speed. Many people are thinking that if AI writes code faster, then developer experience will automatically improve. But productivity is not about just churning the code. It's all about code quality, maintainability, and the cognitive load on the developer. If an AI generates code that developer needs to take a lot of time in untangling it or trying to understand what it created, that it's not a better experience, right? We're not helping anything to them. So basically the misconception is AI is an automatic solution for every problem that we have, and it will work like a magic. It will automatically solve all the problems, but it is just an amplifier. If we are not solving, if we are not straightening our workflows or thinking thoughtfully into how these products is going to help developers, they'll just create more and more chaos.
Yeah, makes sense. Now let's switch gear a little bit. You talked about how developers have to do certain things like architecture design and other things to enable the AI to generate better. So if you're hiring today now, so are you now looking to hiring for the traditional coders or system thinkers or AI experts? How do you think about hiring the right developer going forward?
Yeah. Ideally, I want both. Meaning, I want someone, I would like someone who has deep coding skills, understanding algorithms, debugging skills, like complex issues. That's like having a solid foundation. Or to just draw a comparison, that's like a powerful engine in our cars that we like most. Now, AI literacy on top of it is like being comfortable in using AI tools, knowing how to craft prompts or how to use or leverage these tools as a co-creators and collaborators. That is like a turbocharger, a turbo power to engine. The engine alone can run, meaning with the solid foundations, they can definitely do better. But adding this turbocharger, which are the AI tools, that is going to add a lot more power. So if I had to choose, I would lean toward a developer with strong fundamentals who is eager to learn AI tools rather than someone who knows AI tools but lacks or missing software engineering.
Yeah, I think it totally makes sense, right? For developers, they really have to be able to AI savvy or AI literacy, right, basically. Otherwise, they're going to be a divide essentially that's happening. Those who just coding, they don't have anything about AI, or you leveraging AI, and people who leverage AI and essentially, 10x the developer basically. Today, you definitely can accelerate your own development skills for sure. The more skill you have in guiding the AI, the better you would be, essentially producing. So what's your thoughts on like what should the developers do, if they want to evolve their skills?
For my thought process, again, continuing with the skills that we want to look for hiring a new developer, I would suggest developers to double down or invest more on what's timeless, right? What will never expire. For example, problem solving, clean architecture, system design. Then continue to embrace this AI literacy, AI tools. Then you must treat GenAI tools like your in a new command line where you can practice, experiment, and learn how to use them effectively. So my 2 cents would be focus more on the problem solving, design thinking, architecture, and embrace AI literacy. And also, I would like to say this: developers who are experimenting today will definitely win tomorrow. Who is going to embrace these AI tools and technologies will have more brighter future than if they are just limiting themselves only on their existing tool sets or the learning.
Let's do one fun thing, which is fast forward 5 years from now. How different you think the day to day of a software engineer will look like?
I love this question, Balaji, because 5 years isn't far with the amount of progress that we are seeing, how fast AI is moving. But I would expect developer experience could look significantly different because AI will be woven into every stage of development life cycle. It will be part and parcel of their every day to day. Just to give an example, I would expect like AI could be summarizing what entire code that you had written, or while you were sleeping, it must have done the review, performing some tests, and giving you what are the test results and identifying the bugs and providing a solution for those bugs. Right. I would also see that the team collaboration will also change, not just on individual developers. Just imagine, right, for stand-up meetings, which we regularly have, which is common in every team, AI could be summarized based on the work that happened from yesterday to today. It could summarize everyone's progress and the code from the code commits and the ticket updates they automatically did, so that the team can focus more into on the problem solving and the solution, identifying the solution. I'm a big fan of all movies, Marvel and DC, all of those. But my favorite movie all time is always Iron Man series. I feel one day everyone will have a Jarvis like Tony Stark has in the Iron Man movies. You will be still be the hero, designing and building, but you're gonna have get a sidekick like Jarvis, which is gonna do tons of work behind the scenes and gives you a lot of information. So for you to decide and design and guide that future AI to do the job better. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I think every week there's something that's really changing the way the software development, particularly working. I think Agent AI is the new thing that's happening. Almost everybody is getting on that bandwagon. It's going to be very exciting. I think the world will be completely different. And I, as a product manager, I was telling one of my other product managers, hey, we don't need engineering anymore. We can write on our own. And so obviously you need the context, you need the higher level guidance. Maybe the engineering team can set that rule for everybody, but then the product manager don't have to submit a Jira ticket and then wait for engineers to work on it. Maybe you could do it yourself, with a better thing. So unfortunately, there's maybe a blurring of lines that
Exactly.
that will happen where you don't need maybe that many engineers, or maybe to your point, you're building something massively amazing. You're like maybe taking years of work and condensing it a month of work, right? Yeah, I'm super excited about it, and it's been such a rich conversation. Thank you, Vidheer, for bringing so much insight into how AI is reshaping not just what we code, but also how we think as developers. If you're watching and you're a developer, a team lead, or running an engineering organization, the key takeaway is this: the mindset shift is real. Right? It's no longer just about writing code. It's about curating, prompting, designing workflows, and thinking in systems. So how is AI changing your approach to software development? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if this conversation gave you something to think about, and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the future of dev tools, AI, and engineering leadership. Thank you again for
Thank you,
watching, and
Balaji.
thank you, Vidheer, for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for having me.